Hey everybody, I'm going to give just a brief summary of what we had talked about on Tuesday. And once again, as I've talked about a bunch, the Spanish tried to settle the area between East Texas, what was then East Texas, and French Louisiana after La Salle. It's a miserable failure for all kinds of reasons. um, they're they're kicked out or they retreat by the mid 1690s. And then about 5 or so years later, and you don't have to get too fussed on the exact dates, but you do have to know the sequence. Sequence is really important. Think about any story that you read or any TV show that you watch. Sequence is important, right? And the same with history. It's a narrative. So Father Hidalgo builds the mission San Juan Bautista, the mother mission of Texas, although today it's in Mexico. And again, think about infrastructure and logistics. He's trying to move a little bit closer to Spanish Texas after the miserable failure of the 1690s. He writes a letter to the governor of French Louisiana, this guy named Cadillac. Hidalgo does in 1711. And we think he might have been trying to provoke the Spanish by doing this because Cadillac gets the letter, it takes him about a year, and he works with a guy named Saint Denis, who's a very clever, really actually brilliant, clever doesn't really capture it, uh, uh, merchant. Saint Denis moves among the different Indian groups with great fluidity. He speaks multiple Indian languages, highly respected. And San Denis comes through Spanish Texas, and he ends up in San Juan Bautista with a couple of Caddoan Indian, and with this idea that the Spanish and the French might start trying to Christianize, or more specifically, make the Caddoan Catholic. Well, the Spanish go nuts, and one of the real themes of this early part of this course is how sensitive the Spanish are. Anytime there's activity by a foreign power in what's the northeastern province of Spanish Texas. The Spanish are super sensitive to this region. And here's a big point that I want to make that I've made before, but I can't really say it enough, that when the Spanish feel threatened through East Texas, they pour resources into Texas, Spanish Texas. And when they don't feel threatened, they back off and they take resources from Spanish Texas. Well, this is one of the instances where the Spanish put in a lot more resources into Spanish Texas. A party of Spanish soldiers and priests come in through San Juan Bautista in the 17 teens, heading towards East Texas. They're going to establish a group of missions in the East Texas area, very, very near the French trading post of Natchitoches. And it's at this point that the Spanish create the capital, so-called capital of Texas, Las Ideas. Now, Las Ideas is a great example of why students hate history. It's really obscure. It's like, what does this mean? Why do I have to learn this? And I totally get it. But the big picture here and how you want to fit Las Ideas is the Spanish need a presence near the French, and it's kind of a tripwire to keep a reconnaissance on the French. So the technical capital of Spanish Texas is Las Ideas, which is in deep East Texas, near Natchitoches, Louisiana, which still exists today. But the real capital of Texas, the by far the most important city in Texas, or community, I wouldn't know if you want to call it a city, was San Antonio. And just to remind you, San Antonio is founded in 1718 as part of this larger Spanish expedition coming from San Juan Bautista as a result of the visit of San Denis, where the Spanish are finally coming in to Texas. They I'll talk about this at length. San Antonio, as I said before, think about it as logistics and infrastructure. This is why San Antonio is located where it is. And so it's about a halfway point between San Juan Bautista and Las Ideas, the capital of Texas. Okay, so that's my summary for today.